Oh, Ruben Gallego is really trying to convince people it wasn't me. I promise. I swear it wasn't me in the hotel room with Eric Swalwell and the hookers. It really wasn't
me.
You
sitting next to him?
This is an example of the lies. No, I was not sitting next to him. I was not in the room. I was nowhere. I don't even know where it happened. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, unfortunately for Ruben, I booked a human lie detector so we can get to the bottom of it once and for all. Welcome back to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. You will notice it is April the 15th, and I am appropriately wearing the Taxes Are Gay shirt. And I believe I have a twinsies in the control room because it's disgusting how much money as a contract worker we have to write the federal government every single quarter. And as we file our taxes and have to write that, it just gets me going. So don't forget, taxes are gay and retarded. And if I had a shirt that added the retarded, I would wear it. But so far, that just gave me a merch idea. Anyway, taxes are gay and retarded. And that's all that I have to say about that. So one thing that has been really fun, it's just fun. Like, I love these H-1B investigations that I'm doing. I think that they're impactful. I think that they're meaningful, but they're also really fun for many various reasons. But one of them is that we watch on that second channel, which, by the way, you guys should be subscribed to at Sara Gonzales TX. Make sure to go over and subscribe to the second channel where we are releasing all of our H-1B investigations exclusively. So make sure you are over there. Follow me on social media at Sara Gonzales TX as well. But one of the things that I just get a kick out of, like, we go through and we look at basically how many Indians are hate watching my H-1B, anything related to H-1B that I put out. Like, we look at the analytics behind the scenes on YouTube Studio, and you can see how many shares have come from WhatsApp, which is like their primary source of messaging. And it's just, there's a stark contrast between the H-1B materials, the videos, and how much that's being shared on WhatsApp, and then just a regular video not about H-1B. So as you guys know, also, thanks to Patriot Mobile, they are sponsoring our burner phone that we have been able to infiltrate some of those WhatsApp groups. We see you guys. We're in your group chats. We also see what you're saying about me. You think you're safe on WhatsApp. You're not safe from Sara Gonzales. You think you're safe on WhatsApp from Hyderabad, typing on your phone from your shithole. Oh, no, you're not. No, you're not. We're still in your group chats. And so now, because I have been doing all of this investigatory work and because there is so much scrutiny now on the H-1B program itself, the Indians are very mad. And we know this from the death threats, and we know this from the way that they try to discredit me. But now they are also, we can confirm, we have received evidence that they are trying to do this behind the scenes coordination, like en masse, to suppress my content, to get me blocked, to get me kicked off of social media in some cases. So let me give you one of the WhatsApp groups that we infiltrated. This is Austin Lakshmi Putrulu. And that is the name of the group chat, right? So you can see that they're sharing stuff. Apparently, so this is in Austin, Texas. Apparently, Lakshmi Putrulu is like sons of Lakshmi, who is a Hindu goddess for wealth and, I don't know, visas and all that other bullshit. I don't know. I don't care about their weirdo religion. So Austin Lakshmi Putrulu and this guy named Bhaskar Mittapalli shared my video where I confronted, you can see it right there, I confronted the H-1B worker who was illegally running a food truck on the side. He wasn't just helping his wife. He wasn't there for a printer. I don't want to hear your bullshit excuses. He was illegally running the food truck on the side that he intentionally registered to his wife's name. I'm sure his wife is like all the other wives since she was sitting at home rather than running the business, just like the wife that I confronted not so long ago who I'm like, knock, knock. Hey, where's your business? I have no idea. What's the address? I have no idea. Where are the workers? At the office, I guess. Where is the office? I don't know. You have to ask my husband. My husband's the one who handles that. Well, that's weird. That's weird. So this guy, Basker, okay, he's sharing my video. More on Basker in just a minute. But I want to just go ahead and look at some of these responses. It's just like so insane. This is scary shit, Anil says. Why is it scary? I'm like rooting out fraud and abuse of my system. It seems to me like only a scammer would say this is scary shit. Like, if you're not doing anything wrong, shouldn't be scary to you at all. H2, we need to click report in YouTube. She has no authority to trespass or share misinformation. Nothing I've shared is misinformation, and I wasn't trespassing. Okay? This was a bit, you're allowed to go into a business until they tell you to leave. And when he told me to leave, I left. So, speaking of misinformation, you're sharing it, H2. Here's one, the translation. We all need to learn to speak carefully, is what that next one apparently says in Telugu. We all need to learn to speak carefully. Why? Why would you need to learn to speak carefully? But like, if you're not doing anything wrong, it wouldn't matter. You wouldn't be in a position where you would need to speak carefully unless you're a scammer. Let me give you another one translated. Recently, I don't even understand this, but recently they shared an X video of the Vinayaka immersion, but solely with a specific agenda. Now, I believe that they are speaking about the viral video that was posted that had these Indian nationals who were here in our waterways dumping shit into them for one of their like traditions. And if you go and you look at, this is like, go look for yourself what the waterways in India look like. They're polluted as hell. They don't have the same like customs and I don't know, like hygiene sanitary practices as we do. And so they've turned their waterways into just absolute garbage and trash and filth. And then they're coming over here and they're like dumping all their shit in our waterways. So it was shared with a specific agenda. I agree. The specific agenda is to get it to stop because we don't want you guys coming over here and doing that in our country. Arvind says, agreed. Just press the down thumb. That should be good enough. Learn English. That should be good enough. Satya says, someone need to ask her how they entered USA legally or by crossing the border illegally. She feels as if she is an American. Does she ever made a video on illegal Mexicans entering border? I don't see it. Okay, so this is actually something that I'm so glad that you asked, Satya. I'm so glad that you asked. I have a couple more to go here, or at least one. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and answer your question. Number one, yes, I've made plenty of content on illegal immigration and Mexicans and Chinese and Russians and Iranians and all the other people who were coming through an open border. I've made a lot of videos on that. You wouldn't have to look far. If you took like 2 seconds to Google, you should see my position on it very quickly. But number two, what's been so fascinating is watching these Indian nationals who don't share my culture, who don't share American values, American morals, or anything like that, to watch how inherently racist they are, that their scams are being called out by someone with the last name Gonzales. This is their go-to. They're like, oh, she must be an anchor baby. Oh, she must have entered the country illegally. Ask her is she ever going to show up at the illegal Mexican food trucks? It's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I think all the illegal immigrants should be deported. I want them to get the hell out of my country. You know who else I want to get the hell out of my country? You scammers. All of you who are flooding into my country, scamming my system, you all should go too. I don't know what it is that's so hard to comprehend about that. I am an American. I was born here. My parents were born here. I have a lineage here. Okay? So it is so fascinating how quick they turn to the racism and then they act like they're the victims because I somehow just hate Indian people. No, I want all of the scammers gone. It's just that you guys are the ones who are doing it all. So unfortunately, because of statistics, I have to call you out. If you don't like it, I don't know, try not being a scammer. Try being honest. Try being an honest broker for once in your lives. Now, H2, I don't even I don't even know what the hell H2 is saying after this. If we display unity only on New Year's or the birth of Lord Rama festival, not enough. There are many weekend Hindus or month-end Hindus. I don't know. But then he gets back to business. We need to hit the thumbs down and report her videos. For what? For what? Exposing the truth? I guess. I don't know. But I'm just going to say shout out to the group chat. Shout out to all the group chats because we're in way more. Shout out to all of you. We see you. We love the engagement. Keep sharing it in your WhatsApp messages. Keep engaging with us. You know what? Hit the thumbs down. I don't give a crap. I'm still going to be in your algorithm. I'm still going to be in your friend's algorithm. I'm still going to be in Americans' algorithm. And we are all hip to the game. Also, if this is just, you're like, oh, actually, I could think of this WhatsApp group that Sara and her team should infiltrate, you should send me a tip. SaraTips@blazemedia.com. That is SARA tips, TIPS, @blazemedia.com, and we will be on it. Now, I mentioned our friend Basker, and I said more on him in just a moment. Let's get back to our friend Basker Midapale. Some of my friends over at USCIS might want to start looking into some of his extracurricular activities, and in fact, we will send this to them as soon as it's aired, which is typically what we do, because I don't know, I can't confirm, only the federal government can confirm if he is on an H-1B visa, but his phone number from the WhatsApp group takes you to a company that looks pretty familiar, just like all these other tech companies, IT companies. This is C2A Global IT Solutions. It's the same font that they always use. It's the same shitty websites. It's poorly built. You can't really find anything like any good information on the site. Now, although his phone number, when you look it up, goes straight to this company, is very strange because he's not actually listed as a director or the owner of the company, but curiously enough, his wife is. I'm sure that that's nothing. Anywho, his phone number also takes you to other companies like this one in an Indian event ticketing company, Event Pre. Now, good news, you can just pay them under the table with Zelle or directly with cash. They will accept your under the table payments so that they can try to conceal that it's happening. But you know what? I'm sure everything is like totally legit. Everything is above board. No scams going on, I am sure. Now, according to the Secretary of State filing, Eventpre is also run by someone associated with that same very tech company, C2A Global. It's all these weird coincidences. There's nothing going on here. Every Indian H-1B visa holder who has ever come here in the system, all of the millions that we have here, everyone has been legit. There's nothing to see here. Well, actually, there is. And as I mentioned, Americans are done with it, including Vice President JD Vance, who we talked about how he is starting this anti-fraud task force. It is going to include H-1Bs. And I have been invited to participate in something very special at the end of the month that I can't wait to tell you more about with regard to this. But he spoke about it at length during an event last night. Here is what Vice President Vance had to say.
There are ways in which, our visa system is taken completely advantage of. But when you guys graduate from this university, I don't want you competing against a low-wage foreigner for your first job. I want a company to have to pay you a fair wage for a fair day's work. It's like common sense. But to do that, you really have to do reform of the H-1B and other, it's not just the H-1B, a number of the other visa systems. We've made a lot of progress, but man, I would love a Congress. And you guys advocated. Ask yourself, you have a Senate primary going on right now. This is what I say about getting more involved. Every single one of you should ask those Senate candidates, what do you think about the H-1B visa? Would you co-sponsor the vice president, former senator's legislation to eliminate that program because it's basically just something that big tech companies take advantage of? These are the things that you guys have to do because I can't keep these politicians honest by myself. I need your help.
God, that last sentence struck deep. Like, relatable. Yes, same. I can't, there's not enough, like, I would have to clone myself and my team like 100 times over, and we still would not be able to get to all of the fraud and all of the tips that we have been given. We've got to prioritize it very carefully because there's just so much. It's going to take all of us. So he also, to his credit, highlighted the ways in which the Trump administration is beginning to take action as well.
But just through administrative action, I don't think people realize this. The number of new H-1B visas is down about 90% in the United States of America. Like that's something that we accomplished purely through. That's something we accomplished purely through administrative action. And again, it's something I cared a lot about. But for us to really make this stick, I mean, look, as much as I don't want this to happen, eventually, hopefully 20 years from now, you're going to have a Democratic president who tries to undo everything that we've done on immigration. That's why we need Congress to codify this stuff. But right now, I'm very proud of what we've done in the Trump administration. Massive reductions in fraudulent visas, massive reductions in fraudulent number of asylum claims, massive reduction in H-1B visas granted. We're making a lot of progress.
Obviously, I am extremely grateful for everything that the Trump administration has done with trying to curb what is very obviously an invasion. It is a great first step. It's 1,000% more than anyone else has done in the past few decades. But obviously, more has to happen, and that is not at the feet of JD Vance, and that is not at the feet of President Trump. But it is like there are very real reforms that we can do that are very, very easy, actually, because he's right. Technically, new applications are down, but that hasn't stopped the massive amounts of people renewing and applying again. So if you look at this, 2025, 479,953 registrations, and 2026, 358,737 registrations. So yes, it went down, but it's still really damn high. And another thing that you have to consider is that the $100,000 fee for the H-1B sponsors, remember, that was supposed to be to curb this just influx of flooding the gates, but it only applies to new visas for people coming here overseas, not for renewals. And what we know is that these people come here, they come here on the non-immigrant H-1B visa. Remember, that's how it's categorized within the federal government, non-immigrant visa. And then they come here and then they immediately either renew or at the same time start applying for, okay, I've got the H-1B, I'm going to renew it. Once I can apply for, green card, I will. Once I can apply to become a naturalized citizen, I will. Like, they use it as a mechanism to get here and stay here. And so they will keep renewing and keep renewing. And then on top of that, there's a loophole where the F1s or the OPT or whatever, you've got an F1 student visa who comes here and then they transfer once they're here to an H-1B, and they don't have to be subjected to the $100,000 fee as well. So there is more work to be done on this. If there is a scam, if there is a fraud to be had within the system, the folks in Hyderabad are going to sniff it right out and they're going to get on top of it. So Congress needs to act on this. We need a new plan because this is still broken and not working. I want you to look at the tech companies, Meta, Google, Amazon / H-1B petitions after Trump's visa crackdown. But when you look at the data, it's still bad, guys. They're still sponsoring visas in like the tens of thousands. Amazon had the highest number of certified applications. It went from 4,647 in Q1 2025 to 3,057 in Q1 2026. And earlier this year, we just talked about how they've laid off 16,000 workers. So they're laying off American workers and they're still handing out 3,000 jobs to foreigners. Which, by the way, the White House just put out a report that kind of it just proves my point. It's why I keep talking about it. If you think that just because you don't work in big tech that H-1B issue is not going to affect you, think again. It is affecting literally every single American. It is affecting our economy. It is affecting our resources. The White House just put out a report that said housing shortage is at least 10 million homes. Freddie Mac in November 2024 said the United States was 3.7 million housing units short. Now it's at 10 million. It's at 10 million, which I would just say just leads me to remind you guys, we're short like tens of millions of deportations. So we solve the housing problem if we get all of the illegal immigrants the hell out of our country and we reform the legal immigration system so that these people cannot come here and flood the gates and steal our jobs and then take up our housing. And now we're 10 million homes short. I think we know what needs to be done. We've got enough homes, not enough deportations. All right, make sure that you subscribe, smash the like button. Go ahead, just do it. I dare you. Or you can gently tap it. We all appreciate a gentle tapping from time to time. I'm not here to shame you. I'm not here to shame you how you're going to do it. Steven, put it back up. Put it back up. There it is.
It's an animation. It goes away when it's done.
I'm sorry. That was harsh. I wasn't actually mad at you. I was passionate.
It's okay. It's a bad day for everyone.
I'm in a bad mood.
I understand. Do you even know how much we paid?
No, I don't. You guys, he handles our finances and I'm like, I don't want to know. I already am sick to my stomach not knowing. I do not want to know. So no.
You don't want to know.
I know. That's what I just said. I meant it. It's disgusting. And it's being sent to foreigners to forgive their PPP loans as they're coming and scamming our system. And then it's being sent to help trans kids in Brazil.
It's roads and stuff, Sarah.
Right. Yeah. Right. My roads. I know. Right. What would we do without the government making sure that we have roads? We would never figure it out. This isn't the greatest country in the world.
It'd be like India. If we didn't pay this, we literally have shitty water and,
Right. There's no one in America with American innovation who could figure out how the to build a road, I'm sure. Anyway, now that Steven's pissed me off even more. As I was saying, make sure to smash the like button and comment. It'll help us in the algorithm, which we all know is stacked against us. And subscribe. That was the other one. Subscribe to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. And we're having a lot of fun here. You guys let me know. Full immigration moratorium, because that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. The White House report just proves it. Full immigration moratorium, in my opinion. You let me know what you think in the comments. And I want to thank our sponsor, PreBorn. So PreBorn is really doing God's work with their network of clinics. What they're doing is, instead of what you would find at Planned Parenthood, which is a woman comes in, she's sold a bunch of lies. Don't worry, it's just a clump of cells. We're just going to suck that right out of you and you're never going to regret a thing. In fact, your life will be much better without it. PreBorn, obviously, that's not true. And so PreBorn welcomes these women with compassion and they give them a free ultrasound. And so the woman sees her baby for the very first time. She hears that heartbeat. And in that moment, fear gives way to clarity. And she realizes, this is my baby. And something changes within her. And so this April, our goal is to have 11,000 gospel conversations in PreBorn network clinics. And of course, 11,000 babies that can be born. So $28 provides one ultrasound. $140 sponsors 5 ultrasounds for mothers in crisis. How many ultrasounds can you help us with? How many babies can you save? That is preborn.com/Sarah. You can donate securely over at preborn.com/Sarah. I saw this story going viral online, and it's something that I think can just be underscored by saying, sometimes you just think living like this is a choice. Like the decisions that are made from those on high, judges, politicians, law enforcement. It's just this is a choice, and it's a bad one. Like this story that I saw, this woman tried to abduct and stab a young child in Omaha, Nebraska. Here are the horrifying images from the body cam of the Omaha Police Department. She was shot dead by police. Now, the boy did not get out without some harm. She slashed him on his face. So he has wounds on his face now. And already I'm immediately enraged, right? Immediately enraged. This woman just comes up to some random kid and is like, I'm going to stab them. Thank God for the police department. But when you dig into the details of this particular story, it actually, this is why I'm saying, guys, this is a choice. Like, we don't have to live this way, okay? This woman already had a violent past. Let me give you this. Woman killed during attempted kidnapping at Omaha Walmart was under court supervision. So the records show that she, at 31 years old, was following a mental health treatment plan that was ordered after she was found not responsible by reason of insanity for a house fire and a church break-in. So here you're like, oh, well, that's not necessarily violent. Well, here's what she did. She set her father's home on fire and then broke into a church with a kitchen knife and threatened a priest. So, already dealing with a obvious, very violent criminal, but the courts said she was too insane to suffer any punishment. Listen, come on. They have insurance. The dad has insurance. He can build his house again. The priest can just pray about it or something. I mean, please, come on. She's too insane. So for the 4 felonies, the court said, you are not responsible. We're not going to say you're not guilty, but you're not responsible by reason of insanity. Okay? Now, in June of 2025, the judge ruled that this woman continued to suffer from schizophrenia and that she was a danger to herself or others and should remain under the court supervision. Now, what the does that mean? I don't know. What do you mean under the court supervision? Are you guys hand-holding her? Does she get to show up every day and she just sits in the judge's office and the judge supervises her? What does that mean? It's just a bunch of gobbledygook for we're not going to make her responsible for anything. And they said, well, the psychiatrist that we're going to release her to, who also is not going to be holding her hand every second of the day. She's going to have a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist will let the courts know if she doesn't follow the treatment plan, and everything will be fine. We will just let her back out onto the streets to be violent, even though we just noted that she is a danger to herself or others. What? This is entirely preventable. Now, in the local news story that I'm reading from, it also says she was scheduled for an annual review on June 12th. Well, what's the key word that stands out to you? Annual. What does annual mean? It means once a year. So what court supervision, I guess, means is you can have a violent, crazed lunatic out on the streets engaging in violent behavior, and they can go into court and you can deem them not responsible because they're crazy. And then you can release them under court supervision and say, hey, just come back for your yearly checkup. Once a year, every year, you can come back in and we'll ask you some questions. And then we're going to send you on your way so that you can go into the streets and slice some kid's face open. Why are we doing this? This is a choice. If people are apparently unfit to stand trial, why in the world would you say you're not competent enough, you're not fit enough to stand trial, but you are totally fit to be released back into the world where you can go on to commit more crimes against innocent bystanders? That is insane behavior to me. And so when you start doing some digging into it, actually, the notion of being unfit to stand trial it's not like it's constitutional. It's not like that. That hasn't been a thing except until it was put into place about 60 years ago by a Supreme Court decision. Reevaluating competence to stand trial, the current federal law governing a defendant's competence to stand trial is substantially contained in 18 U.S.C. 4241 that could be traced to a 1949 statute, and in Dusky versus United States, a 3-paragraph opinion of the Supreme Court delivered in 1960. So here's the thing. I understand that people want to say, well, they couldn't help it. They were absolutely mentally insane. Okay, so lock them up in a mental institution. Don't make them everyone else's problem. There is a fix for this. Why would you say they are so crazy? They are so unbelievably crazy, they could be a danger to other people. So the obvious solution is to like not put them in a padded cell, but then put them back out to be just like in main society. That makes no sense. This is a choice. Bring back the mental institutions if we need to, because this is just another way. Like so many other parts of our justice system, the left is just weaponizing this to unleash dangerous criminals, to let them roam in our streets. And I realize some of you may not be very familiar with Nebraska. So you may be thinking to yourself, oh, okay, but you always tie it back to the leftists, Sarah. Nebraska is red. No, actually, Omaha, Nebraska is a very blue city in a red state, which is why they call it the blue dot. That's what they call it. So when are we going to get serious about the safety of our society? How many more Irina Zarutskas do we have to see? Crazed homeless man accused of slaughtering Irina Zarutska on train found incompetent to stand trial. Okay, then lock him up in a mental institution. I don't care what you call it. I don't care what you call it. The guy had a rap sheet a mile long. He never should have been there in the first place. So the Supreme Court really needs to take a serious look at this. They undid other outdated decisions from the court in the past, and it's time to fix this and make it clear that people who are violent criminals, regardless of their mental status, need to be locked up so that Democrats stop allowing career criminals to murder innocent Americans. Anywho, want to thank our sponsor, Animal Farm. So Animal Farm is another Angel Studios movie. And of course, it's George Orwell, Animal Farm. If you guys have not read it, you're missing out. It is a great book, a historical book. And it brings George Orwell, this movie, to a new generation that desperately needs to learn about the dangers of totalitarianism and communism. It's anti-communism, anti-cronyism. And kids are going to have big questions after watching Animal Farm. You're going to leave with something to think about, not just something that's, silly and goofy and numbing your kids' brains. So I'm just telling you guys, Angel Studios is doing really, really amazing work. Really amazing work. And I would ask you guys to support them. By the way, this is recommended for ages 11 and up. So don't take your younger kids, but 11 and up. Take them, let them see it. Answer their questions. It will be very, very enlightening for them. And it hits May 1st, so you can get your tickets now. Go show them some support. They can't keep doing this. They can't keep making quality movies that are good for your family and are not woke if you don't buy tickets. So angel.com/Animal Farm. That is angel.com/Animal Farm. Obviously, America still has a lot of questions about the Eric Swalwell hotel video. Mostly, who is the other man? Who's the other guy that you see come in right at the very end? He creeps into the frame there. You see him on the right-hand side. And this guy we've been seeing, we mentioned it yesterday, there's a lot of speculation. A lot of speculation online. These are all rumors, which I love me a good conspiracy theory. So the speculation is that it's Ruben Gallego who serves with Eric. And the ears seem to match. The scars seem to, it looks like it could be. It's possible, right? It's plausible. But Rubin was very, very quick to deny that he was in that video.
There was a video online that surfaced of Eric Swalwell making out with a woman sitting next to someone. Was that you sitting next to him?
This is an example of the lies. No, I was not sitting next to him. I was not in the room. I was nowhere. I don't even know where it happened. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Chris LaCivita and a bunch of other right-wing political operatives are pushing this narrative that somehow I was in that room with Eric Swalwell, and that is an absolute lie.
I love that it always has to be it's like the crazy right-wing guys are pushing these rumors. Like, buddy, everyone in the world wants to know who it was that was on that bed in the edge of that frame. And so I just thought, everyone in Congress lies. You don't know if they're telling the truth. You can't trust them. I wanted to get some more answers, so I reached out to our friend of the show, Scott Rouse. Scott Rouse is a world-leading body language expert and behavior analyst, and he's part of the group, the Behavior Panel. Scott, thank you for joining me again.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So I want to play, you're a human lie detector, right? Essentially. And I want to play a clip of Ruben Gallego's press conference from what we just saw. And I want to get your kind of an analysis here. So let's watch.
I call this today because there's just a lot of rumors going around about me, about my family. And, you know, unfortunately, this is not the first time. I did deal with the same BS in 2024 and 2023 when they ran millions and millions of dollars of smears against me, lied about my family, and to same damn people again. Carrie Lake, Chris LaCivita, bunch of political operatives. They couldn't do in 2024, trying to do again in 2026. So I want to make a couple of things very clear. Number one, Eric Swalwell lied to all of us. He lied to the most powerful people in this country. And they trusted him. They trusted him with some of the most sensitive spots in our government, whether it was on Judiciary Committee, Intel Committee, impeaching Donald Trump. And that clouded my judgment. My friendship with him, our family's friendship together with him, clouded my judgment. And I was wrong. I deeply, deeply regret that. The women that came forward are courageous, and they still deserve justice. But to be clear again, I also had no knowledge of predatory behavior, sexual assault, or harassment. And unfortunately right now, the same people that are attacking me in 2024 are using this horrible situation that's been thrown upon these women, thrown upon Eric Swalwell's family, and using this as an excuse to politically attack me, lie about me, and lie about my family.
Now, I have my own personal opinion, Scott, but I'm not the expert here. So I'm gonna toss it to you to get your analysis on what we just watched.
All right, there's so much going on in here. It's these are all the classic red flags you look for when you're looking for someone being deceptive, or if you have a question about that. Everything he taught, this is prepared. He's prepared this and he's rehearsed it. We know this because listen to the pauses between the sentences. Every time he finishes a thought, which is one of the things he's rehearsed, then we hear him start talking again. Quite often what he'll do is, and he looks almost exactly like, if you will compare the two of Swalwell and this guy when they're talking, when they're defending themselves, they both use what are called illustrators. Illustrators are the way their brain emphasizes specific words and phrases, like I did just then, specific words and phrases. And you can do that with your head, you can do that with your whole body, or you can do that with your shoulder, you can do that. There's so many different ways. And he does it the very same way Swalwell does it, which lets us know that they are tight. They hang out all the time because when people get around each other, they start what's called mirroring and matching. So they'll start acting like each other. They'll start speaking like each other. And the person that wrote this defense for him is the same one that wrote Swalwell's. I'll bet $1,000 on that. I bet $10,000 on that because the structure of his battle against what they're saying to him, of his denial, is the same as Swalwell's. There are 5 to 7 pieces of it. And the first one is you admit, you talk about what happened, and then that's when you start chopping it up. He does what's called chaff and redirect, where you ask him a question, and he'll almost get to where he's going to say something about it, but when he does, he'll say, but my wife and children and all these people, all these other politicians that I've been telling you about, that's right-wing this and that, goes everywhere but what he's talking about in the but the answer of the question. So this guy, and what's fascinating, I don't know what questions you're going to ask, but what's fascinating to me is when he starts talking about the accusations about the sexual assault, the harassment, those kind of things, he does what's called eye blocking, classic eye blocking, where you close your eyes or turn away when you answer that question. When you hear something you don't like or you're presented with something you don't like, you'll close your eyes. If somebody is in a room and they start telling a joke that's going to get real dirty and it's in a place it shouldn't be, there's a lot of women around or old people or something, they'll close their eyes for a second. And then, so that's what happens. Blind people do that too, as a matter of fact. And we don't know why they do it, but they'll close their eyes when they hear a story like that they don't want to hear, or information they don't want to hear. They will eye block. So that's going on here when he talks about anything having to do with him doing anything bad. Watch how he blocks his eyes and turns his head. This guy's just a little bundle of flags and cues for deception.
Interesting. You'll notice he says he had no knowledge of the allegations. I think we've got another short clip of that as well.
And that clouded my judgment. My friendship with him, our family's friendship together with him, clouded my judgment. And I was wrong. I deeply, deeply regret that. The women that came forward are courageous, and they still deserve justice.
Okay, I have a question about this one. I have a question about, is there anything to, he keeps emphatically nodding like this anytime I don't know if that's just because it was well rehearsed or if it's because he's acting because he knows he's lying. Is there anything to that? Because it just seems it doesn't seem normal.
I've watched other videos of him preparing for this. Sometimes he'll do that, sometimes he won't.
Okay.
Now, when someone does that, that's an illustrator we were talking about a second ago. That's supposed to be you emphasizing a specific word or phrase. Now, when those don't happen on the word, there's something up. And if he starts doing this and then starts answering, which he does, and I believe it's near the beginning when before he says anything, he starts going, my family and I, or whatever he says, that lets you know this is put on, this is a show. This is rehearsed. It's prepared. Somebody has sat with him and listened to him do this about 30 times from beginning to end. That's why he hits those same marks every time. I train police officers and what to look for and stuff like this. That's how I can spot this and go, I know exactly what's going on. There's no question about it whatsoever, not even a little bit.
So do you think he's lying about being in the hotel room? Because that's what he's answering right there. I mean, I know he goes on to talk about, I had no idea we were besties, but somehow I had no idea that he was out there committing all of these gruesome acts. But essentially, they were asking, was that you in the hotel room? And he just doesn't seem very truthful when he answers it.
No, and the way he answers is not good either. There are so many things that suggest, that's all I have to say it like that, deception. There's no way of telling right now. I could hook you up some people we could take a look at that and go, that's him. We know that. You were talking earlier about the ears and the scars and things like that.
Yeah.
There are people who can do that really easily and say, okay, this is not that person, or this is that person, fairly quickly. For me, from what he's saying, if I was presented with this as I am now, I would have a hard time believing that wasn't him. Yeah. I can't say for sure. None of us can say for sure because we can't see his whole face, but we can see his beard and his ear in there. So it sure looks like him, and it sure looks like he's not being honest about that. But I could be completely wrong. You know, you never know.
Sure.
These just body language cues suggest things.
Right.
And they give you an idea, and you just look for a group of those cues and suggestions.
All right, I'm going to give you another one that's going to put your skills to the test here, okay? We've got self-confessed liar, essentially, George Santos, expelled from Congress, who had this claim. He seems to know everyone's dirty little secrets over there in D.C. He had this claim about Rubin and his bestie, Eric.
Eric Swalwell falling down in a ball of flames is actually rewarding to me, but what pisses me off is that none of this conduct was a secret. It was actually well known in D.C. So, for instance, when you hear Ruben Gallego go and say, oh, I didn't know any of this, but at the same time clamoring to the high heavens that he's his best friend, I don't know. It stinks. And if it walks like a duck, acts like a duck, might be a duck. I would press Gallego harder.
What's your expertise tell you about whether or not George Santos is lying in this moment? He seems like he knows what he's talking about and he's confident to me, but you're the expert.
Yeah, well, he's an expert. He's an expert in lying, just bald-faced lying. Doesn't mean he's lying right now, but a con man, which is the approach that I took when deciphering his body language, is that of a con. And they can look like everything is fine, everything is exactly the way I say it is, and they'll look happy and look confident and look you dead in the eye and tell you whatever they think you need to hear to get whatever they want from this. There will be a goal in this for him, since he's here talking about that. The last person you want to get to try, you want to put up in front somewhere to believe is him, whether it's good news or bad news, because he's the only reason he's famous is because he's lied so many times and lied so well to all those the monsters up there that are doing all those things. And he was in there among those people. Then why didn't he step out and say, hey man, this guy's doing all this stuff over here. Why don't we check this guy? Why don't we take a look? Never heard a word from him about that. And if everybody knew up there, nobody said anything, I don't trust this guy anyway. He may be telling the truth about that, but I'm a little jaded on his background to even begin to believe anything he says.
I am so jaded on so many of these people who just seem to be total scumbags on both sides, by the way. So it's just, I hope that it all gets rooted out. And I appreciate you coming on to share your expertise. And I know you can't conclusively say that Ruben Gallego is lying, but at the very least, all of these red flags are there. And that's all we can say about that. Scott, tell everyone where they can find you.
Go to Scott Rouse on YouTube, and I'll show up. And you'll see my channel, Behavior X, and we'll talk about what we're talking about today, these kind of things.
And he's got so many YouTube play buttons behind him. You are a superstar, my friend.
Well, it's two different channels. It's one, the Behavior Panel. Some buddies and I got together and started a thing called the Behavior Panel. Then I've got my own channel. So if one, as you know, if one starts doing well, if you do another one, you know all the things to do to help the other one do well too.
Yeah. So. We got like super suppressed and demonetized for 2 years and all that on our main channel. So we're kind of messing with the second channel thing as well. So Scott, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Come back soon.
I will. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. By the way, just to kind of wrap this up really quickly, George Santos said that a former staffer, again, as Scott pointed out, take it for what it's worth, but he said a former staffer of Gallego has claimed he terminated her after he made a sexual advance on her and she rejected him and complained to the then congressman's chief of staff, and she says she's going public. So we shall see, but let all of the skeletons come out. We don't need sexual predators in Congress, and taxpayers certainly don't need to be paying for it. All right, my friends, we'll be right back.